Mr. Kevin Alexander. How are you?
I'm doing well today. How are you?
Good. I'm good. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. We just met a couple of weeks ago, and we were so impressed with you.
Thank you. I don't do the things I do to impress people, but I do the things I do because it's the right thing to do and because I enjoy it.
Exactly. But sometimes that's the outcome.
Right.
Is that people are impressed and inspired by you.
Well, that's always a good thing.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Do I have to tell my age?
Only if you want to.
All right. Well, I've been in the Hampton Roads area for about 25 years now. I am retired Navy. I'm originally from the great state of Arkansas. I have four boys, and I am a member at the Mount Hermon Baptist Church, where Pastor Stephen A. Lewis is my pastor.
Okay.
I am currently working as a defense contractor for a CLEC Consulting Group, and I provide contractor support for the United States Navy on different warfare systems. I enjoy working with young people, specifically males. I think as we grow older and as we age and as we go through life, there's only one thing that we should do besides just try to live our best life and glorify God. But we also need to try to give back to our community as much as possible. My way to give back to the community is to try to be a strong presence and to be something that young men can look up to and emulate.
That's beautiful. So how did you hear about the Promise program, and why were you, you came in a couple of weeks ago through someone's recommendation, I think, for you to be a facilitator with the program.
Right.
Why did you want to do that?
Well, I learned about the program through Mr. Brian Hawkins, who's the lead facilitator, I think, for the Promise program, one of the lead facilitators. And Brian and I met at another event a couple of weekends ago, and there was a coffee among men, kind of a symposium where we were kind of talking about the role of the black male in the family, in the community. And I guess throughout our talks and throughout some of the questions that were asked and from some of my answers, you know, Brian listened to me, and afterwards he walked up to me and asked me, would I be interested in doing something like this? And I immediately jumped right on it, because this is something that it's just an opportunity that for anyone that cares about themselves along with their community, you just can't pass an opportunity up like this, because this is what I feel like our purpose is supposed to be.
That's good. What do you so far know about the program? I know it's really early and your training is this coming Saturday. Is there anything about the program that you want to share, that you understand about it? That
what I do understand, and what I know, what I think to be very, very true, is that the people that are involved in this program are some of the best people that you ever want to meet. I think the people are very genuine. I think what they do and what we'll do here in this program will obviously give us a chance not only just to give back and to pour into some of the young people in the community, but it gives us as facilitators and as people that work with the program an opportunity to share our gifts. And I just really think that the people that I've met so far are just phenomenal people.
That's good, that's good. And you also, one of the first things that you did was to mention your church.
Yes.
And I'm interested in hearing what role your spirituality plays in your interest in serving your community.
Well, I'll go back a little further. My father's a pastor.
Okay.
My father's been pastoring for, this year will make 42 years that he's been pastoring, and he's been pastoring the same church for that long. And I grew up in the church. It's just a part of me, it's a part of my fabric, it's a part of who I am. And I understand through some of the things that I've been through in my life that I know I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in if I hadn't turned my life over to God and lived the way that I know I'm supposed to live. I'm very active in my church. I also serve as a deacon there, as long as one of the church musicians. And this is just the way that I feel like God ordained us as men. This is what we're supposed to do. Because there's no manual, and I know that's kind of cliche to say, but there's no manual for young men to read, to grow up, and understand what it's like to be a man. It takes a man to teach a young man how to become a man, and not just a man, but become a man that has a strong sense of family, has a strong sense of community, has a strong sense of church and his religion and his faith, and to be able to be an upstanding, very committed and a contributing member of society, and not contributing in a bad way, but a good way.
Right. Do you think that there are some unique challenges that African American males face?
Of course there are. Yeah, there are. Some of those challenges are just dealing with stereotypes. It's one of the biggest things that we have to deal with, because in so many in so many areas, you look at a lot of things, whether it be from television or from radio or from social media or things of that nature, where we get such a bad rap. And a lot of times it's just based off the way we look, the way we dress, our language, the things that the things they see about us in the news. And so it takes a lot for a young black man, or any black male for that matter. It's sometimes been said that we have to work twice as hard just to be even. And so, although that's true in a lot of situations, I feel like I am someone, along with the rest of the facilitators here in this program, and several men around this community, can show you that hard work pays off. Just doing the right thing pays off. And that's what we're trying to get these young men to understand.
That's beautiful. Some of the greatest human beings I've known in my life have been black men. Starting with my father, and my grandfather, and my fiance, and my sons. What would you describe as some of the greatest gifts or strengths of black men?
Perseverance. Perseverance would be my first one, because we have had to work so hard to achieve some of the things that we've been able to achieve throughout our lifetime and throughout our history. I think for every black man that you see throughout history, whether he's an athlete, whether he's a musician, whether he's an author, whether he's a preacher or pastor, whether he's a politician, whatever role that he's played and whatever occupation that he's had in his life, there were some roadblocks. And there was not just a few, there was probably a lot. I can look at just in my family, I was fortunate enough to know both of my grandfathers before they passed away. And both of them were very, very hardworking men. And they taught me at a very young age, or at least at an age where they felt like I would be able to understand, that the one thing that you can do every day is get up and go earn an honest living. And if you can do that, then you'll be able to take care of your family. And there's not a whole lot that anybody else will be able to tell you. And you won't have to live by somebody else's rules, because you're making a life for yourself and for your family. And you can kind of play by your own rules. And most young men these days don't like to be told what to do. They don't even like to listen to advice. But they also don't understand, on the other hand, that if you don't want to play by anybody else's rules, or if you don't want anybody else to give you that type of advice, then get your own. Learn how to go out there and do what you need to do for yourself, so you can live the life that you want to live. And then, sometimes that's not always, the best thing, I guess, whatever, because you're still going to need help in making certain decisions in life, because your lack of experience just doesn't allow you to make certain decisions when it comes to certain things that you got to make decisions about. Right. So the message that I think I want to give to every young black man, and every man in general, because we never stop growing, we never stop evolving. Always keep your mind open to listen to what someone else has to say. Because just because you've done it before, or just because you feel like you have the knowledge to do it, doesn't mean that there's not a better way.
The Promise program, as you know, was developed by by 3 black women. With the help of some black men. And at a historically black college, Hampton University.
Great. Great. I love it.
And in partnership with some researchers and community people at Howard University. Do you think that this is what we need when we look at programs that we need for our communities and input that we need to uplift our communities? Do you think that these programs need to be developed by people of color, by the people that we're trying to serve? What do you think about all that?
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely, they need to be developed as much as possible by people of color. I think maybe when we had our first discussion, my first interview here, I think I may mention that it's very hard for a young black man, especially in today's society, I feel like. It's very hard for a young black man to listen to someone that doesn't look like him, that hasn't experienced the same things that he's experienced. To try to tell him or try to give him certain types of advice to say, this is going to make you better. Well, how do you know that? Because you haven't walked in my shoes. You haven't lived my life. You haven't felt the pain that I've had to feel. You haven't dealt with some of the situations and issues that I've had to deal with. So with that being said, I just feel like it just makes perfect sense for someone that has lived this life, that has grown up in the same skin that you grew up in. Let me talk to you, son. Let me talk to you and let you know the things that I've experienced and how I coped with them, how I dealt with them, how I made certain decisions, or some of the people that I spoke with and that I talked to, some of the agencies, whatever the case may be. Let me show you how I got to the point to where I am right now, and I can put you on the right path.
There was a young man who was here earlier today, and I don't know if he might be in his late 20s or early 30s, but he's on fire for all of this work, you know, and for making a difference and for being a facilitator and working in the community. And one of the things that he said is he thinks, you know, he sees among the older generation sometimes a kind of giving up, you know, that things are bad, and a kind of giving up and really not having the energy to go out here and do something. Do you see that? And because, I mean, you might be one of the people, and I might be one of the persons that he's talking about.
Right.
Do you see that at all, and what do you think we can do about that?
Personally, I don't see it. I think he and I will we probably see the same thing, but I label it differently.
Okay.
And what I see is the spirit of discernment. When you're a little older, you're a little bit wiser and a little bit more experienced in certain things or whatever. Sometimes you just can kind of look and you can tell that once you've exhausted so many efforts and certain things and you've poured into a person for so much and so long, sometimes we just understand when a person is just not going to get it. It's a sad day when you come to that conclusion, because now it feels like, you know, we failed. But I was having a discussion with some people last night, and the same question kind of came up, and we can't look at it as us being failures. God gave everybody the spirit of free choice. So you make whatever choices that you want to make in this life. You have an opportunity to make your life better. You have an opportunity to see the world. You have an opportunity to do something that will get you out of the situation that you're in right now. And when a person continues to pour into you, and when a person continues to do the best that they can possibly do to put you on that right road, and you seemingly do everything you can do to stay away from it, then at some point in time it comes to a point where I have to say, I'm wasting my time here, where I could be putting it into somebody else that that will probably get it.
Right.
Because this person obviously doesn't want to. Because I know this works. I've done this with, if I got 10 guys and I did it with 9 and it worked, and it's not working with you, then it's not my method. Then it's you.
Right.
And it's not so much just giving up.
Yeah.
I just think it's just a spirit of discernment that, hey, I can't waste no more time here. I probably need to go put this effort into somewhere else where it's going to fall on some good ground.
That's interesting. That's a good way to look at it. So we know that there are challenges in our community. We know that there are great things in our community. We are resilient, beautiful, powerful people. Where is your hope that we can really move things forward in our communities to empower people, to uplift families, to make sure that people have all of the human resources or the basic human and financial, emotional resources that they need to experience success in life and to realize their potential? What hope do you have, and where does that come from?
Well, I hope it reaches all of them, and I hope it starts right here. I hope this program has been in existence for 4 or 5 years already, and I know it's done a good work, and I know it will continue to do a good work as long as it's in existence. But I hope it not only reaches just locally. I want it to reach nationally. I wish it could go globally. You know, that's my prayer for this program and for not just the program, but the effects of the program. You know, we have so many smart young people. They just need a hand. They just need to be guided in the right direction. And it's not because they don't have parents at home or they don't have people in their lives, you know, to help them out. But, you know, just like we have, you know, children that need mentoring, we might need some parents. We might have some parents that need mentoring as well.
Absolutely.
So, because we can't do what we want to do in a 2-hour time period twice a week. It's got to be hands-on, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the time. And if we can get those people that surrounding these kids to buy into what we're trying to put into them, then we're going to see a dynamic shift in our communities. We're going to see a dynamic shift in violence coming down. We're going to see a dynamic shift in grades coming up. We're going to see a dynamic shift in, you know, black on black crime and things of that nature, whatever. Everything's going to change.
Right.
And if we can get the adults and the protectors and the guiders in our community to all buy into the same program, whether it's Promise program or any program that's out there that's developed that's doing the same thing that the Promise program is doing. If we can get the same efforts from everybody,
Right.
it goes back to the old adage, it takes a village.
There you go.
So we got to be a village. We have to be a village. And another thing that I'll say too, you know, to the young people is that, and I think I said this to you the first time we met as well, that, you know, a lot of young people get really, really upset because they feel they're getting stereotypes, or they feel this way or they feel that way. But I had a really good friend of mine tell me one time that, you know, we as black people, not just young black people, but we as black people, we have to understand that we're not responsible for what people think about us, but we are responsible for what we give them to think about. So if we can make that change, and if we can understand that and always keep that in the back of our minds, and I'm not going to go out here and I'm not going to look this way or act this way, so someone can get the opinion of this. Now I have to turn around and I got to fight this stereotype as well as everything else I'm fighting. Don't start off that way.
Thank you for being you.
I don't know anybody else to be but me.
And thank you for your interest in working with this program. I'm sure you're going to contribute so much to it. So thankful
I'm looking
for
forward
that.
to it. Looking forward to it.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
No, ma'am. I think that about sums it up. I'm just ready to get to work.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay.